Sorry about that. Sorry about that. What up, Dr. Jeremy? Thank you for coming back. Yeah, they definitely being messy. I even put the name in the title, but they being petty. But anyway, ain't nothing like you can play your own shit. Hey. Welcome, 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 and welcome back to the one and only beat maker of the beef sector. Shout out to the fishing sector. Shout out to the sailing sector. Shout out to the real sector. Now we're going to enter into the mental sector. Cut this down some so we can get into some things. There we go. Slow it down a little bit. Here we go. Here we go. Now, let's talk about mental health. Well, I think we all had a fair share of dealing with mental health on an everyday basis. What up, Doc? But yeah, I think we all had a fair share of dealing with mental health. It affects us every day, some way, somehow. You know, it can be that we're around it, we dealing with it, associated to it, or I mean, financially. You know what I mean? One way or the other, we're definitely having some type of effect with everyday living. When you're at work, when you're at home, when you're in the street, mental health has gotten so out of control these days. And, for the money and for all the like the doctors and, the help that is out there, it seemed like it's hard to put those two together. For the people that don't believe that they need help, to the folks that's telling them they don't need help, and the people who wants to go out and get help, it's not available to them to get the help. Now I get a little serious. Let me go ahead and turn this down a little more or turn it off. There we go. There we go. So let's get into it. Well, I have a few family members that have mental health. It goes, somewhat through my family like everybody else. Starts from either hereditary to depression to all types of different things. We all have some type of mental health that's going on within the family or within your household or within you. And what we're going to talk about this aspect about mental health is getting the proper treatment when it's needed. How we do that. I mean, it's a thousand ways of doing it. Um, understanding, what is not right. Hey, Doreen, welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, but I mean, the the thing is, especially in the black community, it's like tabooish. You know what I mean? A lot of them feel, especially from the old heads down to the youngins. Now, make no mistake. You know, one thing I can give, if anything, to the newer generation, they do, take more time out to find out, about mental health compared to when I was coming up and people that came up before me. A lot of times it was, like I said, taboo is to go see a doctor, go see a shrink, go see a psychiatrist, go see a psychotherapist. Um, but it's really nothing wrong with it. If you know something's not right, you're not feeling right, you're feeling down all the time, you're deeply depressed, you're stressed, and some of these things people don't even know they have it. Some people don't know when they're depressed. Some people don't even know that they're stressed, you know, until they start finding out, the unexplained things that's going on in their life. You know, there's nothing wrong to go get help, especially in our black community. I don't want to just say, just the black community, but because we do have other communities that suffer with it as well. But the other communities definitely try to go and get help. That's the difference. So, and not to rag on my folks, you know, I know we've been, you know, stirred down the wrong path lots of times. Lots of times. Right, Doreen, right. And it's not even a thing about opening up though, Doreen. It's within yourself. You know what I mean? A lot of times you can go and get help and keep it, or if you feel embarrassed or you feel that, your family's on you, you can go get help yourself without, having, someone to know unless you're like so deep that that you can't help yourself to get help. You know what I'm saying? You can't get to the doctor. I mean, there's ways. Today we have so much that's accessible, that, you know, I know they're going to say it's not excuse, but you have to make the effort to do it. You know what I mean? And again, you don't have to, just like any other type of medical issue or medical situation that you have, you can keep it confidential if you want. Hey, I got some tags inside my comment section, for people who are suffering with it. If you know someone, if you think someone who needs the help, if you think you need the help, definitely go check it out. What up, Mike? Shout out to Mike. Hey, thanks, bro. Thanks for coming through. But yeah, when you having issues, especially mentally, you feeling down all the time. That can be between depression, that can be between stress. And sometimes you don't know how to unwind yourself. You don't know how to break down, the situation that's going on with you. So you definitely, when you're not able to do that, it's nothing wrong to reach out just to talk to somebody. Give it a chance. Everything ain't for everybody, but you can't say, hey, nobody can't help me if you never tried. You know what I mean? And take y'all through a little short road of my life. All right. I had, anger issues, and not in the sense of, you know, um, like ragging on people and stuff like that. But mm, the way I came up, I had some problems and stuff like that. Um, Processing and dealing with certain situations and stuff like that. And I used to keep it bottled in all the time, and then I used to explode. The problem is, at a young age, I learned how to box. I learned how to self defense and stuff like that. And with protecting myself, um, I used to go a little overboard, especially, with bullies and stuff like that. I used to have a problem of overdoing protecting myself. Instead of me being a victim, I become the aggressor, from me learning these things at an early age. So, and then another thing that I used to, have a problem with is understanding people and wondering why people didn't think the same way I do, didn't think what's common sense, why people didn't, think common sense the same way I do. And I had to learn, I mean, a long, long time that, people are going to be people, and you have to let people be people. They had to be themselves. No individual is the same, no matter if you're a twin or not. No individual is the same. Hey, Simply, welcome, welcome. But yes, no individual is the same. And let me tell you, you can be twins, triplets, whatever. You have your own brain. You have still your own way of thinking. But it took me a long time, even to adulthood, to understand that. And that used to feed into my anger, And not to say that I used to go bully people and stuff like that, but I still would go at people a certain way, until it was broke down to me, with the help of a couple of doctors. Both of them are no longer here in physical, but they're still here in spiritual. Shout out to Dr. Sloop out of Virginia, and shout out to Dr. Clark out of Maryland. And these two gentlemen basically, helped the course of my life of dealing with my anger issues. Now, these days, I know how to deal with my anger. I know how to, uh, distress myself, take in and do other things to, keep myself out of those situations. Sometimes I slip and I fall, but just like anybody else, who's on a journey of, trying to live their life the best way they know how, live their life the way they wanted to live. You know what I mean? And that's what I got this crazy little message indicator to let me know uh, um, when somebody send me a message and it's like loud as hell. It's funny as shit though. I think that's why I put it on there. But it's starting to get a little irritating because I'm sitting here trying to talk. But let me turn it down, turn it off. I want to turn off my calls and notifications are muted. Okay, my bad. Back to what we was talking about. But now like I was saying before, um, with these two gentlemen, um, they helped me guide me through. When I was in school, I was dealing with Dr. Sloop. Shout out to Norfolk State. Shout out to Liberty University. Um, Dr. Sloop have first I thought he was a comical guy. He was like 6'5", tall, white gentleman, and he used to wear high water pants and bring his lunch in a Snoopy lunchbox. Now, if you picture that, you're like, oh, who in the hell is this dude? You know, and from me having one of my episodes of beating down a bully, you know, uh, and he wasn't doing anything to me, but he was going around messing with other people. It wasn't quite my neighborhood, but it was my it was where I was staying at the time, and this dude used to just stay at the store and just pick on a lot of little people, and I got tired. one time he handled somebody a certain way, and all right, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you, bro. Um, and I used to see him all the time. He even tried to come at me one time, but I guess after dealing with me, he didn't want to deal with me no more. But I got in his business, as he was messing with two younger cats that of course they were scared and they felt they was threatened. So I stepped in, and of course he wanted to fight, of course, and I beat him down. So this is my journey of meeting Dr. Sloop for the first time. It was either that, go talk to someone, without getting charged by the police and the court, like, hey, we understand what you did. This person has problems of messing with people, and he had mental problems too. Again, me being a young man, you know, um, was put in the position that, of not having something on my record by going and talking to a shrink on my anger issues. All right. Now, Dr. Sloop, again, tall, 6'5", high water pants, Snoopy lunchbox. First thing come to my head is, what in the world this dude gonna tell me? I mean, he looked like a loon by himself. And I was like, okay. So I got to deal with this for 6 weeks to stay out of trouble. For one, it wasn't making sense to me of why am I in trouble when he's the bully, the one that, had an issue with. I don't want to say no name, but then I'm the one that have to go through this mess, right? But anyway, he he was, like I said, the kids was coming, coming to the store and was getting something, and he doing what he do by hanging out in front of the store and basically well, not even asking, telling people, give me your money or give me your stuff or I'm gonna punch in your face. And this particular day, I was coming through, no care in the world, got my headphones on, listen to my cassette tape. If y'all know what that is, for y'all young folks out there, y'all probably don't know what I'm talking about, but the older cats know what I'm talking about. I had my cassette tape. I'll listen to, I think, some Bismarck Key or something like that. And basically, the dude, was going on the kids, and I was like, "Yo, leave them alone." He's like, "Well, who the fuck are you?" "Oh, I seen you around. Well, you want something with me?" And I'm like, "You're gonna leave people alone. Matter of fact, won't you just leave? The people who told you in front of the store a couple times to leave people alone." He, "Well, what are you gonna do, punk?" I'm like, "Well, let me show you what a punk can do." So, I took and grabbed him, which I shouldn't have did. Mistake number one, I shouldn't have did. I grabbed him. I should have let him grab me first. But I was beyond that point of anger of putting my hands on someone when I'm not supposed to. Okay. Number two, you know, once I grabbed him, I took him and tried to drag him out into the street. Okay. That's the second thing. You know what I mean? Again, not supposed to be putting my hands on anybody, feeding into my anger, you know. But um he finally tried to swing, and I, stomped him down. Okay, police is called, first, even the people who he took his money from, who he took his money from, came up and said, "Oh, why you had to beat him so bad? Why you had to do this and that?" I mean, he could have just kept the money. I said, "No, because I've seen this guy before, and even myself, he's intimidating a lot of people. I don't like bullies. I'm telling you, I don't like bullies, even to this day. But I know how to handle bullies. You know what I mean? Pretty much either leave them alone, or when they, come with them, in my face, I deal with them accordingly. and I know how to, basically keep my hands to myself until I'm threatened instead of becoming a threat. Um, but basically, Dr. Sloop, he have gave me the tools by first, trying to talk to me, which I took him for a joke for the appearances that he have. But he showed me, little by little, how to deal with my anger. He used to ask me a lot of questions. And that's one thing about being a therapist. They're gonna ask you a lot of questions. Some people get annoyed at questions, but that's one of the process. They have to get to know you. They have to know what's, the way that you think before they can start, helping you, get through your problems. And that's real talk. It took me a little while to get it, especially younger. You know what I mean? When we young, man, a lot of times we think we know everything, we know how to get through everything, and nobody can't tell us anything, and I mean we all have went through that one way or other coming up in life, but sometimes we had to reevaluate ourselves and be humble. You know what I mean? But Dr. Sloop, he little bit by little, was starting to, let me know, the error of my ways of how I keep getting trapped in, getting angry and then filtering it through violence or confrontation. And then he like, instead of doing that, you know, um, he told me to next time use your words. Now, if that person come at you, then you have the right to defend yourself. But, again, there's a difference between, shutting somebody up and this walking away from a person um, to diffuse a situation. But like again, one of these situations wasn't about me, it was about somebody else, and I made it become my situation by jumping in the situation, trying to help someone else, but I made it personal. And this is one of the ways of how, your mental, can deceive you. And a lot of people don't understand. Sometimes your mind can go places without you even knowing and understanding why they're going to these certain places. You know, and you definitely have to identify these things when it happens. You know what I mean? Or once you notice it and understand it, then see what you can do about it, see what you can change about it. And if you can't change it, then you go talk to somebody. Don't get in a situation that you be forced. I was blessed twice, from saving myself from, going to jail, saving myself from, doing like some real time. And the most important, messing up my record, having a record, you know. So yeah, yeah. I owe these guys a lot. For one, for helping me save my life, saving somebody else's life, on top of mess up anything of having a career in my life. Because you know how it is, to get in trouble and have one thing on your record and then boom, it's harder for you to get a job. No matter if you got a college degree, you can have your PhD. You got some on your record, yeah. Unless you have your own, which that affects that too. When you have your own businesses, you know, sometimes when you try to get certain loans, depends on what type of business you have dealing with people, sometimes they do check to see what type of person you are. And if you have any type of record, you know, especially these days, anybody can check on you to see that you have a record. And that's the thing of technology today. We have, access to a lot of people's stuff, especially to public information. They can learn a little bit about you, especially when you're trying to get a loan, for a business as you take in and use your own money, but still, to become successful, you still have to, you know, have money, and to get money, most times you have to deal with public order to get money. I mean, it's just the facts. Um, but anyway, um, people, again, I mean, this is like mental is almost the same as doctors working on brains, and understanding the mind. Same as psychologists, psychiatrists, and stuff like that. They, you know, they're still learning themselves. You know what I mean? And they will continue to learn. That the mind is like the biggest thing that doctors couldn't even, grasp or basically have a super hold on. They learn by life lessons. They learn by behaviors. They learn by habits. You know what I mean? And only difference with between them and you, of them helping you, is that they can take your situation and put it in a particular way that you can understand it without it being all over the place. That's what makes, a good psychiatrist, psychologist do, you know. And once they set that path for you, a lot of times things become easier for you because then you start understanding yourself more, and then you can definitely identify when you have some type of meltdown or some type of state of confusion. So this is where things can get really, really, you know really great for you if you go out and get this type of help. That's why I say don't knock it until you try it. It's very important. There she is, Boss Queen. How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. The BBK. Uh, yeah, I started off, playing some music, like a boss. I had Dr. Jeremy BKNY in the house. Um, and I was playing the Slim Thug, like a boss. And basically, yeah, YouTube didn't like that, man. They shut me down quick, fast, in a hurry. So, I had to come back and play some of my music and got into this topic. Um, and let me put the link out there too. I'm sorry for people who wants to come up. There you go. Hey sis. Hey sis. Yes, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming in. Um, we talk about mental health. Um, what happened was what? Oh no, no, nothing. Basically, I'm just talking about mental health. I'm just going through it. I was talking to a couple of good people, um, family that I deal with on a daily basis, and one of them would be sis, pretty chocolate girl, and the boss queen, the BBK, and let me tell you, with everything that's going on out here today, a lot of stuff has popped in my head, and just listening to a few people here on news and YouTube, it just prompted me, to come out and say how important, how to deal with your mental health can actually help you. All right, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hey, sis,
Hey,
hey, hey, hey.
what's up, bro? I can't stay too long because I have to make a call for a meeting, but I
Let's
still want to come up because I just saw that you were live.
yes.
What's going on?
We already started. Nothing really. I'm just starting to talk about mental health because I'm starting to see it all around me, and I see a lot, especially
Me?
black folks who's not getting the help that they need. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right.
and and then if you red ball when you get a chance, red ball back a little bit,
Okay.
you'll hear the beginning of the story of me dealing with my two doctors, and well, first dealing with the first doctor. I haven't got to the second doctor yet, and how he helped me, um, you know, get through my anger behavior issues, and then I was breaking it down on how, people to understand what they actually do. You know what I mean? So they
Mm.
won't feel so like, how like you felt about snakes the first time, and then,
Right,
watermelon, she
right.
she helped you understand, she give you a better perspective. And I'm doing almost the same thing of getting perspective on how psychologists and psychiatrists work,
Oh,
because a lot of people out here, they do not, they think it's bad to go see a shrink. I mean, I don't even like using that word sometimes,
yeah,
but
that's what they're afraid of. That word. You're right.
right. It's intimidating. So, but
Hmm.
I mean, again, it's just a short word. It don't mean anything, but it's just, I guess, it's an intimidating word, especially like I said. I give it to a lot of the new generation. You have a lot that's acceptable more to getting mental health. I mean, it can be better, but it's better than when my time coming up and people before me. The older generation. They definitely don't believe. They think it's witchcraft. They think it's all types of, and it's not. You know what I mean? Again, it saved my life twice. You know what I'm saying? Of having, to go into jail. It helped me to keep my record clean and everything. It was kind of forced, but I'm glad it did, because if it didn't, then I would definitely still, I probably wouldn't be here right now. I'd probably be in prison. you know,
Right.
um,
It's time
you
for
know,
me to make another appointment right now. Like if you see yourself getting to the point where you feel like that you can't help yourself, then
right,
yes, you need to talk to somebody. And
right,
yes, we do these conversations thinking that it can help someone, but
right,
what you're doing right now is good because you're letting them know we're here temporarily, but when you press that end button or when you exit out, those real problems adhere. So the best thing to do is go get some professional help from someone that knows, and like you said, can get you where you need to go. So
right.
you're correctly right, and you're doing a wonderful job with this live.
Thank you, sis. Appreciate
You're
you.
welcome, brother. But I can't stay long. I'm gonna go ahead and drop down. And if
Okay.
once I'm complete, if you're still live, I see you've been live for a little bit though. If you are still live, I will come back up, and also we can talk about it a little bit later, over on my channel as well. Okay.
Oh, that's no problem. That's no problem.
All
Thank
right.
you, sis.
You
I
brother.
appreciate you.
You're welcome.
All right, later. But back, thank you, pretty chocolate girl. But like I was saying before I took a little trip back. Um, Doctor Sloop again. He was my first doctor, and I graciously thank him so much, because again, when I was younger, macho and, feeling myself and, thinking I'm the shit, this and that, the other. I'm a young man that able to handle his hands and stuff like that, which it was a good thing, but also a bad thing. A lot of people didn't, come up, able to street fight, box professionally, and also self defense. You know, uh, it was just the upbringing that I had, but it also got me in trouble too. So that, sometimes when you have some gifts, it can become a curse. But we have, other people who learn about people, and sometimes when you don't know the answer, just like what you know PCG said, you know we need to reach out and talk to somebody. If you not feel comfortable because you think family gonna laugh at you, friends gonna say, oh, this and that, you, and where there's something is not understandable, the same thing as your health. If something is not working right, or something is not acting right, or something changing colors, or something, or whatever, you're going to run to the doctor for that. So why not do the same thing for your mental? Huh? Let's be real. I mean, we see, people unraveling every day. We see people who definitely is questionable of needing help. We even had some of the greatest minds, quote unquote, let's say Kanye, yay, very, 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 very intelligent gentleman, very, very intelligent. But from dealing with life itself, we can see a lot of it unraveling. The man is going in a direction of something that he wants so bad. He don't now he don't know how to break it down and interpret it. So this is where it comes in to talk to someone if you feel safe, within yourself to have somebody unpack that for you and break it down for you so you can see the direction that you can go. Uh, she said, slap. She was saying, slap the like button. Yeah, thank you. Hit the like button, everyone. I don't say that very much in my life. You know, a lot of times I don't come in for a lot of that, which I should, especially if I'm going to be doing my channel and being taking it serious. I mean, I most time I be trying to push everybody else and make everybody else. I don't take proper time for myself to you know asking for the same things that I try to promote everybody else that I care and I like and I fuck with. But hold on one second. I'm about to do something I ain't supposed to be doing. No, nothing illegal. Get your mind out the gutter. I'm about to blaze up my cigarette as I'm sitting here talking. Hey, where's my lighter? I just had my lighter. That's one of the things too that I need to work on too for my health. Uh, I guess it's not meant for me to have right now. Oh, too late. I found it. But no. Uh, but anyway, again, inside my comment section, I have all the information for the national hotline for mental health crisis and stuff like that. Also, you can have people that you can talk to. Yeah, I see you, boss queen. um, but yeah, it one thing I want to put out there, we in our community, but also out in the world too. I would say other nationalities, we're quick to self medicate. It's almost like it's almost more of a quick reaction instead of thinking. And I mean, a lot of times there's nothing wrong of doing it, long as it's in a good place and long as it's actually helping you. Because when it's a difference of taking and putting your problems to the side and not having a care in the world. But remember, we come back to reality. We don't stay in the clouds. We don't stay, in the twisted, having fun, having a good time or whatever type of world. We come back to reality. And usually when you come back, the problems are still there. So, again, if you have any type of mental breakdown, any type of mental issues, considering of talking to somebody. These days you don't even have to be in the office. You can get a free consultation of talking to somebody on the phone. They don't have to see your face. Don't even have to know your name. That's how easy it is. And instead of feeling that you're the only one in this world that's going through something, let me tell you something. You're not. A lot of people is going through things, some worse than others, but you're not alone. Trust me, you're not alone. Some of the things that you're thinking of, there's people before you, and it's definitely going to be people after you that's thinking the same things. Taking stuff the same way. A lot of times, they're just thoughts. You know what I mean? Um, and it was like thoughts that you can't control, then it don't hurt. You know, again, it's easier these days. I was looking at, how, mental health has changed in the government. Yes, they have took a lot of things away of helping, but they did it within what helps them of not spending money. But they didn't take all the services away. See, what they did was instead of it being more of a control of helping people, which sometimes with people who's, you know, gone way beyond of controlling their mind and their thoughts on situations, you know, those people definitely need help because if not, they're going to hurt themselves or somebody or both. So those things definitely need to be in place. You know, we see how that happens out in the street. From police to regular individuals. Same like when the situation that I dealt with the guy um, at the store. With the two people that the guy was taking from. He had mental issues as well. Um, to a point that he had to have medication to keep him balanced. You know, um, chemical balance in your brain is called basically depression. When the chemical imbalance goes more on one side than the other, then you have like dopamines and and other parts of your brain that don't stay on balance. Almost like without you drinking and taking acid and smoking some coke and dropping some some weed or whatever. Just imagine all that combined as one without you doing any of those things, but just seeing people how they react off all that stuff, and you feel that same way without touching anything. That's the chemical imbalance in your brain, how it looks, how it feels, how it projects, for people who have, no control of what's going on in their head. So it's almost like again, if for some of y'all, if y'all never heard of Pink Floyd, he's an artist, also filmmaker, and film actor. Go check out Pink Floyd, The Wall. It's a music video. Since uh, YouTube being funny, I would show it to you guys and give you a a a, a quick, look on how somebody's mind can be distorted, with any help of drugs. Just having the natural imbalance in their brain is causing them to feel and look at things, in a way that they don't understand. And sometimes we might need drugs. Don't always go for the drugs immediately unless you really think you need to have it. But I would definitely, talk to a couple of people first. You know, Sometimes, you have to shop around for the right psychiatrist or therapist and stuff like that. Um, you have to get somebody who can understand you, who you can be more comfortable with. Just like, seeing a regular doctor. It's got to be a fit there. But overall, most good doctors and majority of doctors are good, that I know of and experience. I have some bad ones, but I think we all experienced that before. Um, that we had to, weed through the ones that best suits us. Um, and then once you do, you definitely start seeing some results. I mean, if anything, you will see that the some things might be simple that they just got clogged up in your head, and you're unraveling and you feel better. You know what I mean? And you can move on and you can use those tools. But then others, you might have to go back and revisit. You have some people that they live at the therapist because they feel like their life is so much in shambles. But that's just my opinion. I'm not in that person's head. I can't tell them what's making them feel the way they feel or think the way they think. You know, and it's not to shame them or anything. If that's what they can do to help them get through life, then hey, I'm all for it. If it makes you become a better person to yourself and to everybody else, I'm all for it. And that's the thought of it. I mean, people can be hermit crabs and don't have to deal with people, and they can live by themselves, like folks in Alaska and stuff like that, or up in areas that there's no man land. Then hey, you can do what the hell you want when you want, whatever. But living in a society, I want to say you had to go exactly by the rules, but you had to be mindful of others, especially you're treating people a certain way and you being treated a certain way. It still had to be a balance there. And sometimes when we off balance, we be unfair to the people who are balanced. So we definitely need to keep that in mind. All right. So, yeah, take them to the cave, boss. They will copyright you. Oh, why you say that, boss queen? If I can ask. Oh, but saying the brother's name, I'm lost. But until the boss queen reply, I will, keep going. Uh, Let me take you down to my second situation at hand. Um, that will be when I had to see Dr. Clark. All right, Dr. Clark. That was another type of situation. Um, was having problems. I was going to work at the time. I was working for. Well, I ain't gonna say the company. People want to dox and stuff these days. But yeah, this is still younger days, younger, more than 20 years ago. Shit, probably 30 years ago. But anyway, Dr. Clark. Um, I was working, doing some type of work, and I was driving to work and got to work, and I was feeling kind of weird, you know. And you ever sat there and some people who once I tell you what the problem was, what the diagnosis was, you ever sat there and you're like in a meeting, and next thing you know, you feel like you kind of like dizzy, and the next thing you know, your hands is clamming up, and then you like when you're looking straight, shit start like going different ways, and almost like you about to fall down. Well, my manager, he saw me having trouble, in the meeting, and they called, the paramedics. All right, paramedics came. They checked my blood pressure. They checked, make sure I was okay, gave me some oxygen and stuff like that, and said, "Hey, you had a panic attack. That's what it seems. Do you still want to go to? Would you want to go to the hospital?" So at the time, I told him no. I signed a release form, and I didn't go. What they recommend me, hey, you need to go talk to somebody. They don't see anything that was physically wrong with me. So blood pressure was good, everything was good. Um, so I of course looked at my insurance. Um, never felt that way before, and my manager said, "Yeah, go ahead and go home." I said, "Oh, okay, cool." So I start driving home, and I get almost home. I'm like maybe 10 blocks, 10, 15 blocks from my house. And basically, I had another panic attack. It just like as I was driving, and it just came out of nowhere. I mean, again, my hands start clamming up. I rolled all the windows down. It almost like I was about to fall out. I couldn't, control myself. I stopped the car. I got out, and was walking back and forth. It felt like I couldn't breathe, you know, and again, something that I couldn't control. Well, that second panic attack, made me for sure need to go see somebody. So I looked up and said, "Hey, I need to talk about somebody about this." So I called my primary doctor. I know I'm skipping over a whole lot. I'm just trying to, keep it short as possible without going through every single detail. But I called my primary, and of course, he gave me some referrals, and a couple of them I went to go check out, and of course, I didn't care for them. And then I had this one particular one that met Dr. Clark, and yeah, short African man. Again, he's no longer here. God rest his soul. Rest in peace. Um, he he first started talking to me. He's like, "Hey, we're making an appointment. Sound like your situation is definitely something mental." And I gave him the history of from family and situations and former doctor. And he told me to come in, and he started talking to me. Now, because I dealt with a doctor before, I didn't prejudge him, like I did the first doctor. They turned out to be a good doctor. Um, but the second one, he um he had a different approach, but he's more on a spiritual side than than just using just science. Um, and he gave me a couple of things to work with. Um, from having consultations and stuff like that. And actually, at first, I didn't see it helping because I didn't take it serious. You know, um, Now the situation I had with that, it came to dealing with family. Um, like most people who have family, you got some family members you don't like and stuff like that. And I had a disagreement. It was no physical one, but it could have turned into one as well. And that was one of the things with the back of my mind that actually caused the panic attacks that started. Now, I know I jumped forward, then back, and then forward. The reason why, because I'm not trying to give out too much information. I'm just trying to give you the actual problem, but give you a little leeway on how that problem came about. Um, Dealing with family with some situations prior to me going to work, it was kind of like going in and out of my head, and it actually raised my anxiety to a point that it caused a panic attack. Again, just thinking about it off and on, it didn't seem like it was a problem. But Dr. Clark, he showed me, he broke the stuff down to me, he showed me how it happened. And like I said, when you start, talking to a therapist, they take everything, they ask a lot of questions. And the reason why they ask you these thousand questions, they're trying to understand and get to know you and understand where the root of the problem or what type of problem that you have so they can help you. So they can put stuff in perspective and put it in order. So from talking to Dr. Clark, he gave me a couple of tools to work with, also learning me, and then was able to finally diagnose me. And he said that I have built up anxiety. Not everybody has it. Some people have it all through their life. Some people born with it. Some people have it and then they're able to deal with it. Some people can't. Some people have to be on medication. Some people don't. All depends on how it came about, when it came about, and how you treat it. But one thing I can tell you, it's definitely great for you to talk to somebody to help you through it if you can't get it yourself. Hey, Lorraine, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming in. But yeah, I mean, definitely you can, you know, for even with people who don't believe in therapists and stuff like that, you know, if you can talk to, you know, I'm gonna say necessarily that they're like professionals in it, but if you can talk to your pastor, you can talk to your you know, any type of counselor, you know, can do some help for you. You know what I mean? They can definitely give you some type of perspective of of getting you in the right direction. But in my opinion, I think it's for you to see if it's something that is you know derailing your life. I would definitely recommend you go see a professional. Um, Now, there's a difference within psychiatry and then psychological. You have a psychiatrist and a psychologist. Now, psychiatrist is the actual doctor, doctor, and a psychologist is more of a counselor. Not taken away from him being a doctor, but as the level, psychologists can put you on the heavy medications and stuff like that when you have like schizophrenia or dementia and you know psychologists they can't help you in those areas. They can counsel you and do the same thing of unraveling things, but as control of medicine to help you get achieve these goals of getting your mind back in a way that you're in control of yourself. Sometimes you had to go the extra step by going to see a psychiatrist. Now a psychiatrist does everything a psychologist do, but a psychologist don't do everything a psychiatrist do. So make sure you know the difference, and they will let you know who to go see. Now be careful of calling the insurance companies, especially these days. Insurance company is about saving money. So they're going to always try to give you the cheapest route to go. But you have to understand what your health is. You have to know where your mental is. You need to go and see whoever you need to see that's going to put you in the right path. If you feel that, once you do see a psychologist and that's not helping, just give it a chance to go see a psychiatrist and see what they say, because they definitely know a lot more. And that's just facts. You can do your fact checking. You can go and do your research, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. But overall, they still helpful people. Uh, uh, um, and their profession could definitely serve you. With getting you in the right direction. You just got to give it a chance. You definitely got to give it a chance. You know, um, and if I had to do it all over again, I think I'd have started earlier. But when we had one life, and we don't have a lot of do overs. So trust me, I know if everybody was able to do a do over, shoot, we probably have a better world. But the reality is, a lot of do overs is not, and we don't have no time machines, not like not yet anyway. But that's the second thing that I was touching on, and I was sitting there talking to Pretty Chocolate Girl. Um, I know I brought up a couple of things by saying that watching people on the internet. The internet is a whole nother beast. It can be very helpful in a lot of ways, but it does cause a lot of problems. And people who have mental condition. And no, I'm not going to slang bang on any names or stuff like that, but it's a lot of people on here that, in my opinion, that definitely need to go and speak to someone. Might not be a psychiatrist, might not be a psychiatrist, might not be the priest, definitely might not be, a counselor, but they need to go talk to somebody, because some of the things that they do and trying to hurt people and doing all types of wild things that the normal society, you know, doesn't do. Um, yeah, they need help. Um, my first thoughts was to come out and say something about it, but I think that would cause more mess than being helpful. So I'm not gonna hold up everybody's time. I just wanted to come out and give a little bit of my experience and how, with my experience, what helped me to deal with certain things mentally that I have, and the way I'm using it to help me get through life. Do I see a psychiatrist now after my two that passed? No, I don't, but I use those tools and I have not had anxiety or a panic attack yet. Now let me take that back. I had a couple of anxiety attacks, but I didn't have a panic attack. And that's when you know that you're going in the right direction. If you can stop your anxiety from getting so up to the point that it caused you to have a panic attack, then you're on the right path on how to deal with certain situations. And you have, things called triggers, that get you there. Like mines is bridges. Now, I have worked at companies that cause you to be in very, very high places. That didn't bother me. But for some reason, certain bridges I have a phobia to. But, I still go over them. But sometimes they can kind of get the best of me when I'm doing it. But I still do it. And, once you get through it, the more and more you do it, you become more immune to it. So, mentally. Uh, oh, thank you, Lorraine. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, you be careful too, listening and driving. But yeah, um, I just want to come out to just remind people, for people who's here, people who's listening, people who's dropping by, people. If you got family members, you have, siblings, you have, friends, your kids. Sometimes, when with a lot of the stress going on today, dealing with the everyday living, from dealing with the government and dealing with people, dealing with jobs, and you know, sometimes it can get very, very, very overwhelming, and it can definitely take you out of your place. Again, don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. There's nothing wrong going and talking to someone who can help you. You're looking in my comment section. I have hashtag, all the different hotlines and stuff like that. Like I said, it's free. A lot of them can come out and not come out, but you can talk directly here on the internet. You can talk on the phone. Some you don't even have to give out your name. If you're feeling like down, that you don't want to be here anymore, that there's people. There's always the people who out there that care, and there's people who care that you might not think care. You know, right now you're just going through something that's probably very, very heavy, and you definitely you know want to get the help, and definitely would help um, to put everything in perspective for you. When we got hotlines for it, I mean, they got easy ways, even on your phone. You can call 311 anywhere in the U.S. and it will put you within your city, state, or county helpline that helps you within your city, and they give you a directory to anything that's going on with you, especially if you have a mental crisis. So and same with the information that I have right here, which I should have put the 311. A lot of people don't even know that that's the like the non-emergency or just city services or state or county services in each state. They have made 311 made for that for your particular areas, no matter where you are in the U.S. um, and they can help you out with other things too. But primarily, I'm talking on mental health today, so I'm not going to go into all the other services. But you can look it up and see for yourself. If you don't have a clue or you don't want to call or get involved with the information I have there, you can always reach out to your local, and they'll be there to help you. The government has set up for all mental health, to have some type of immediate, very, very stressful help for people that, don't have insurance and stuff like that. They have, you know, things that can help you. Even in the long term, only difference is instead of it making it widely available to you, you have to request it. That's the difference. You have to request it now instead of it being wide open for anybody just to walk in, or the police or whatever that's taking you in for whatever that you're doing. You have to be more willing to get your help instead of them directing you to get the help, if that makes sense. Thank you, BBK. I appreciate that. Yes, you know me. I'm you know, I always trying to help somebody. Whenever I can. You know, that's just the nature in me. You know, um, I'm gonna say that's probably gonna be pretty much it. That's true, pretty chocolate girl. I'm glad you said that. Even within your job, they have. I'm glad you said something, pretty chocolate girl. They have most jobs. They have the. It's a little. What is that thing called? When um when you have some type of crisis, like somebody that died, or you have mental conditions, substance abuse, and stuff like that. They have all these type of I don't think it's insurance, but like it's a program part of the job, or basically human resources, and a lot of those are anonymous as well. So, um, and I want to say necessarily that the job would pay for it, but they actually do. They take out money from you and your taxes to put into these programs, but then they also had to match it or put more. I would say that, but I know some of the jobs do that as well. That they pay for it. But most time it's the human resources that have these little. It's a name they had for it. I can't remember the name for it. But once it comes to mind, I come back and put it up there. But it's definitely a name for it that help you with all the services that can help you with these situations. Oh, sure, that's what's up. That's what's up. But yeah, um, but no, that's what I came on. I didn't come out to bash anybody and come out to direct anybody. Again, I got a little overwhelmed from listening to a few people. Nobody in particular. I said one of the names earlier, and thinking about my family and my friends and and some of you guys and it just made me come and talk about it, especially me being part of the community as well. Being with having dealing with mental, you know, um, and I'm very open to talk about it. I'm very open to say it. It's no problem for me. At the end of the day, I had to take care of me. You know what I mean? A lot of other people, you know, you might feel this, you might feel that, but if you don't have the right tools for the right job, that job will never get done. I mean, that's just at the end of the day. And if you don't try to take care of yourself, if you don't try to take care of yourself, nobody else can take care of you either. It starts with you first at the end of the day. Uh-oh. Let's see. Thank you, sis. Thank you. It's so easy to get overwhelmed on social media when real life is happening around. Oh my God, you said a lot right there, BBK. A lot. When considering social media is like one of the biggest, control on our lives today. And I hate to say it, some people can't put it down. Some people, they wrap their whole life around it. I mean, I'm seeing kids killing kids over it. You have these adults who's acting like kids on it. You, I mean, kids getting bullied, adults getting bullied on here to a point that they're taking themselves out, out of this world, because of this social media mess. It's wild. It's almost like the new, hangout spot for all the people who don't have anything positive to give, but want to stay in negative stuff all the time. You know, at one point in life, we used to sit there and, a lot of people used to sit there and watch the stories and talk about that stuff or whatever, and all the crazy mess that happened in that. But now with the social media, it's like almost giving an negative outlet people to live in that type of way. Knowing it's really not their life, but that's what they want to do. And you got some people who wants to grow off of negativity and they put themselves in situations, putting others in situations that makes them become mental. I'm not gonna say disabled, but they become, let's say, unhinged. you know, and people hey, I mean, I say a couple of times that I even got to a point that yeah, but then after you calm down, and put everything in better perspective, like people don't know me, this and that, you know, again, you know, don't let nobody get you out of your character. You know what I mean? Sometimes, being human, certain things is going to trigger us, but it's a point on how you handle it and go from there. People talk shit, and they're going to continue to talk shit, and you probably talk shit too. So, again, if you keep yourself in those situations, you're going to always get the same results. You change the situation, you change how things happen around you. That's that simple way that goes. hmm All right. Well, I'm gonna put that link up for anybody want to come in, want to say something. If not, I'm gonna jam us out for probably another 10-15 minutes, and then I'm gonna call it a day. I appreciate y'all coming in. I appreciate y'all comments. I appreciate your thoughts. I appreciate you. To invite, copy, and paste. Mm. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Feel weird. I haven't been on in a long time. Like live. I know next time I probably gonna. I usually try to write out a little bit of commentary. You know, like almost like how I used to have my sex talk and stuff like that. I used to have everything written out, but this just came up in my head like literally like 2 hours ago, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's talk about it. You know, after watching, a couple of people online on social media and seeing, what happened that triggered, again, if I was a clout chaser, I'd be throwing all types of names and all that mess, but it's not my style, you know. That's not the goal I'm going for. And my goal is to help. And I'm going to stand on that until I stop breathing. All right. Well, I'm about to go over to the studio side, pump the music up. Y'all have a nice, safe, blessful day. I appreciate all of you for coming by. I appreciate the ones for coming in. Please hit the like button. Now I'm gonna rock it on out with a little bit of music that I was playing from earlier. Well, I'm not playing, but what I made already. And let y'all enjoy it yourself. Here we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next time.